Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the luncheon. I'm Debra Wong and a member of the Committee of 100. Before we start today, I just wanted to thank our luncheon sponsor, Deloitte, and in particular, our C100 member, Clarence Kwan, who's seated down here, for helping out with this event today. So thank you. Secondly, I just wanted to let you know that Governor Christie has been kind enough to open himself up to questions from the floor. So there will be C100 staffers who will be walking around with index cards. And if you have a question for him, please put it on the card and make sure that the staffer gets it back, and we'll feed them up to the governor. And to the extent he has time this afternoon, he'll answer those questions. Lastly, on my administrative duties, we do have a Wi-Fi password here in the ballroom if any of you need it, lest you not be interconnected. And the password is Waldorf 2011. All right. Having said that, it is my great pleasure today to have Governor Christie here as our luncheon keynote speaker. As I said, I'm Debra Wong. I am a former California State Court judge, and in 2002 I was appointed as the United States Attorney in the Central District of California, which is Los Angeles. I was the first Chinese American ever appointed to that position as a United States Attorney, and I'm now a partner at the law firm of Gibson, Dunn, and Crutcher in Los Angeles. It's my absolute pleasure to introduce to you today a very dear friend of mine, and that's Governor Chris Christie, whom I've known for about 10 years. We've all seen the glowing reports about Governor Christie, the great work he's done in the state of New Jersey, and the sincerity and frankness that he brings to the job of governor. In fact, so much so, I always read press in Los Angeles about people wanting him to run for national office. I've known Chris since he was first appointed as the United States Attorney. I've watched him up close and in the trenches, and I can tell you that the persona that you see on TV is exactly the same personality that he has when the cameras are off. He is a man with a strong sense of purpose and duty. He believes in giving 100% at all times. He also believes in getting good results, and that the good results are more important than what people say about him in the process. And he believes that protecting the public and helping others reach their dreams is an absolute honor, and one he takes on with utmost earnestness. He accomplishes all of these results with a tireless energy and unwavering ethos. To give you one example, when Chris was given the prestigious appointment to be on the Attorney General's Advisory Committee immediately after 9/11, he very quickly became one of the most respected members of that committee. All of the other U.S. attorneys immediately recognized his work ethic and the seriousness in which he approached his responsibilities. And although Chris certainly has an outsized personality, he is the ultimate team member, never one to fight for to get the credit. When I was the United States Attorney in Los Angeles, Chris and I worked jointly on an environmental protection case together, focused on vessel pollution. It was a great example of Chris's ability to work with multiple states across jurisdictions, including Washington, California, and New Jersey. One of Chris's greatest attributes is his personality. He is frank, direct, and blunt. When we see him on TV, we see a man who is talking the same way that we talk when we're sitting around our kitchen table. Actually, when my kids see Mr. Christie speak, Governor Christie speak, they've seen him before, and they think that he's talking to them because his frankness is so similar. And Chris is no different in private. He's as genuine as you can be. He's a salt-of-the-earth person, and he understands many different kinds of people and their circumstances. He's brought all of these traits now to the governor's mansion across the river, and he's doing a remarkable job as New Jersey's 55th governor. Seeing that his state was facing crisis on several fronts, including a huge budget deficit, runaway property taxes, poor job growth, gaps in public education, Chris set out on what is usually a black hole for governors. Rather than solving one problem before moving on to the next, he decided to fix all of them at once. Not surprisingly to those of us who know him, he's accomplished amazing things so far. In his first 15 months of office, Governor Christie has balanced budget deficits totaling $13 billion with a B dollars. And this is in a state whose entire budget is under $30 billion in total. He has given New Jersey residents much-needed relief and has slowed the growth of government spending by imposing a 2% cap on property taxes and enacting first-step pension and benefit reform legislation. And he has won hard-fought battles in his pursuit of bold reforms to improve public education. But importantly, Governor Christie also understands the immense value of foreign trade, seeing it as a great way to both expand the economy and to create jobs. In typical Chris Christie fashion, in the short time since he's been in office and implemented new policies on foreign trade, he's very quickly become an increasingly significant national figure on foreign trade policy. New Jersey is the 11th largest exporter in the United States, and the Christie administration has worked aggressively to increase the state's import-export capacity and opportunities. For example, Governor Christie has established a foreign presence for New Jersey in 2 key markets, Shanghai and then the United Kingdom, with the promise of more to follow. Until then, New Jersey had not established a foreign presence anywhere. Moreover, in the time since Governor Christie took office, New Jersey has hosted no fewer than 23 foreign delegations and trading partners, including China's Vice Minister of Commerce. And last year, Governor Christie was appointed by President Obama to the Advisory Committee for Trade Policy and Negotiations, which provides policy advice on trade issues of overall national interest. Chris is truly the real deal, and his hard work is paying off for New Jersey and for the United States of America. I am very honored to be his friend and to have the chance to introduce him to you today. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Governor of the great state of New Jersey, the Honorable Chris Christie. Better than our last press conference together.
Well, thank you all very much. And Deb, thank you for having me here today, and for all of you who are here, I appreciate your inviting me, and I look forward to not only the remarks but the questions most particularly. Yes? That's for me? I don't really use these, but okay. My staff went to the trouble, so I want to thank you for being here. So we'll first, before we start, I want to tell you a story about Debra Yang. Now, she gave the very formal introduction of me, and it was very nice of her, and I know she worked really hard on it. But I can tell you stuff about Debra Yang maybe that wouldn't necessarily be in the introduction. I was, as she mentioned, the United States Attorney in New Jersey, and Debra was the United States Attorney in Los Angeles. And so we kind of anchored the 2 coasts. And in the middle, in Texas, was a guy named Johnny Sutton, who was one of the U.S. attorneys in the state of Texas. And Johnny and his family owned a large wild game ranch in West Texas. And leading up to one Memorial Day weekend, Johnny decided to invite me and my wife, Mary Pat, and our 4 children, and Deb and her 3 girls for Memorial Day weekend on the wild game ranch. Now, for any of you who have seen the movie City Slickers, you will know that the idea of taking the U.S. Attorney from Los Angeles and the U.S. Attorney from New Jersey and dropping them in a wild game ranch in the middle of West Texas was something that I'm sure was done for Johnny's amusement and the amusement of his family. And the biggest trauma that Deb sustained during that entire weekend, and there were a number of opportunities for trauma. There was the time when we all were woken up at midnight by Johnny's brother screaming about the fact that there was a big wild pig in one of the pens that we could go and kill, and hustling all of us into Jeeps to go and chase the wild pig and attempt to kill it. Luckily for the wild pig, and I suspect for me and Deb, he escaped without harm. Or Deb and I dealing with children who will come from New Jersey and Los Angeles and are dealing with allergies the entire time in West Texas to things that they don't have here in New Jersey or in Los Angeles. The really traumatic moment for any of you who know Debra Yang was when the moment of realization